Chemistry and Pharma, job skills and courses in demand after COVID-19 pandemic. Welcome everybody to the webinar sponsored by Rasayanika, and I'm your host Shekhar. How are you all doing? Good evening. Good evening everybody. Please confirm in chat if you can hear me clearly. All right, great. So today, as we come together to discuss the top trends and courses and job skills which you will require post the pandemic, I would like to welcome all of you to this webinar and tell you some very important key aspects. Today, as we will be discussing the top trends and job skills, you must know that those who did not adapt as per the trend perished. We all have to adapt and we all have to be future ready. Today's job skills and techniques and the terminologies which we'll be sharing with all of you in this Rasayanika webinar, you will realize that today, if you have to be successful more than ever, then you all must stand at the boundary of science, arts, and commerce. You need to have an interdisciplinary approach towards your subject. Only hardcore chemistry is not going to help. You need to have much more. You need to gain much more insights and you need to have more grip over the upcoming trends. And to help you do just that, Rasayanika proudly brings to you this webinar. Now, chemistry and pharma, vast field. Chemical sciences and pharmacy are two pillars on which our world stands today. And if you have to flourish in this ever-growing field, then you must have a very solid grip of the current trends. Now, today, as I come to you live, I have only one thing in my mind. If by any chance, by any methodology, if we could help you grasp in at least one job skill today, then definitely you're going to be much more successful than what you are today. I want you not to have that fear of missing out within you. Rather, you have to be standing at the forefront of experts, Dr. Priyanjana and Dr. Nitin, and they'll be talking to the end. And that particular ebook will help you enhance your job skills even better, even further. Now, this morning I was reading a book, and that is where it was written that if you ever want to succeed in life, you must have the right focus, the right desire, and the right love for your subject, and then only you can succeed. So if you really love chemical sciences, chemistry, pharma, if you really want to excel, if you have that burning desire to succeed, then this webinar will just do that. It will help you kickstart your career. It will help you get better at what you do, your core subjects. So let's get started. Please confirm if you can see my slides now. You can see my slides? Okay. Now, before I begin, I want to quickly have a check. Are you all guys eager to learn? Do you want to learn these job skills in this pandemic era so that you are ready for the future? If the answer is yes, quickly type in the chat box. Yes? Okay, wonderful. So all my eager students of Rasayanika, subscribers of Rasayanika, welcome. And we start this session right away. Now, starting with the first job skill is Chemi Informatics. Now, Chemi Informatics is a vast field. In fact, it is one of the most popular upcoming field as per Rasayanika's internal survey. We did an internal survey with 100 plus employers and found out that many of them are interested and are already doing research in this field. Now, today I'm going to talk about chemical sciences, in particular Chemi Informatics. So getting started with what exactly is Chemi Informatics? Chemi Informatics is something wherein you stand at the boundaries of two sciences, computers and chemistry. And this helps you gain a tool which will be used in drug discovery. So as shown on my slide here, several terms are used synonymously, and we call it as Chemi or Chemo Informatics. Now this was coined by Frank Brown. It's a widely recognized definition. It is the combination of all the information and resources that a scientist needs to optimize the properties of a ligand to become a drug. Now, a ligand or a chemical moiety or a chemical molecule, that we need some information whether it can actually be used as a drug, and how can we optimize it, how can we study its properties. All this comes under the Chemi Informatics. Now, this decision to actually go in and do the research, it is all done by computers using computational methods, okay? And this is mainly used in drug discovery. So if you want to make a career in drug discovery, then taking a specialization in Chemi Informatics is the need of the hour. Now, initially, like I said, that we are living in the pandemic era right now. In a few years from today, it will all be history. Do we agree? After 2 years from today, the pandemic will be history. But yes, we all will have stories to tell. But I want you to tell that story that in these pandemic era, I learned Chemi Informatics, I mastered Chemi Informatics, and today I am a Chemi Informatician or someone who has a master of Chemi Informatics, okay? Now, this particular Chemi Informatics, I want to display with the help of this slide which is there in front of you now, the drug discovery and development process. Now, what exactly happens here? So we take a sample from a patient, we identify the target protein on which we have to act, and in the third step, we take the effective lead, okay? So we identify and optimize the lead, and further on, the preclinical testing happens, like you already know this process, followed by the human clinical trials, okay? It's getting hidden behind me. So it's written human clinical trials, followed by that, it goes to FDA for approval. You all know this process. And then the drug comes into the market. Now, if we have to really go through this entire process, the most important tool here, if you look at, let me quickly take the pen, is this. Okay, effective lead and identification and optimization, because if this goes wrong, rest everything goes wrong. Okay, so this is very, very important. Of course, target protein identification is also important, and then identifying which particular lead will help us alleviate this particular disease, and that's very, very important. So now, that is where Chemi Informatics comes into picture. Chemi Informatics helps you simplify this process. Okay, so this particular third step is where Chemi Informatics helps us to identify the moiety, to optimize the chemical moiety, and realize whether it can be used as a drug or not. And that is the reason Chemi Informatics becomes a very, very important aspect of today's era, today's scientific era. If drug discovery has to happen, it takes years to create a drug. But using Chemi Informatics, we can fasten the process. We can use computational tools to identify a ligand and to check out whether it can be used as a drug or not. And that is why Rasayanika proudly brings to you Chemi Informatics and Drug Discovery certification course. Now, in this particular certification course, we talk in detail about Chemi Informatics, the various ways, the various steps, various softwares used, and we have demonstrated it in a very much elaborate manner. And Chemi Informatics is one place where you should be focusing on if you want to make a career in drug discovery. Now, what we have done in our curriculum, let me quickly show you that. So at Rasayanika, we are very particular about the course module. Okay, so if we have to check here, let me quickly show you that. So the session 1, computer aided drug design, that is what we talk about in our session 1, followed by we talk about the introduction of Chemi Informatics, the various types, the various sub branches of Chemi Informatics, and approach and physicochemical property predictions which we can do using our Chemi Informatic tools. And then we also help you understand in the session 3 on the need and importance and how it is being used in the current industry, the current drug trends which is there. Now, if we look at the session 4, we also talk about applications of Chemi Informatics and then the tools which we are using. This is very, very important. So we show you a practical, we do a practical and show you how exactly Chemi Informatics happens. And then in silico generation of virtual molecules. Now, in real world, if you have to synthesize a molecule, it takes time, but in virtual world, it is very easy. We create virtual molecule and then interact it with the target and then see how exactly it is moving, how exactly it is responding to this virtual molecule. And then in the session 7, we look at the role of natural product chemistry. We call it as naturochemistry in Chemi Informatics. So you must have heard of naturopathy or naturochemistry or very many times even Ayurvedic. So how can these natural moieties be used as a tool? Followed by that, we also talk in detail, elaborate process, the drug discovery process, and then how do we select the didactic drug design targets in the session 9. Now, all these sessions have been designed keeping in mind that as you proceed, even a person who is in their bachelor's will be able to capture all this. And it starts from the basics. So let me write here B, which is basics, and reaches the latest, which is L. So from basics to latest, this is what you get in this particular Chemi Informatics course powered by Rasainika. And this is a self-learning course. That means you can join anytime and you can learn anytime. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to study from in between these to these hours and there is a limitation. No, you can join anytime. So right now you can join and then you can study at your own pace. You can pause the video, you can proceed forward, and towards the end, at the end of session 14, we conduct a small test to check your understanding of the subject. If you have the understanding, if you pass the test, you will be given a certificate. Hard copy certificate is given to you. But if in case you fail, you're given further chances to again go back and study and then again redo the test. So that is all about the Chemi Informatics technique and the Chemi Informatics course. Now, the best part of our courses at Rasainika is we are giving you lifetime access. So the price is given on our website. It's, I think, 999 rupees. That is the price of this course. And here you will be getting the benefit of lifetime access and 24/7 chat support. Okay, so this course keeps evolving. We keep adding new modules as the field explodes and expands. We keep adding more modules, and all we do is we keep inviting you to join this course and study, because you have a lifetime access. Whether you study it in 2020, you will still have access in 2025, and you can go and check what new has come up in Chemi Informatics. That's the best part of our course at Rasainika. Now, at the end of the session, we also talk about the various prospects and recent trends, jobs and fellowship which you can get, and various research opportunities which are coming up in Chemi Informatics in labs like IISc or CSIR or CDL, various labs, CCMB, CDFD, all these labs are working on your Chemi Informatics, and we help you do just that. Now, at the end of the course, you will be able to represent and search chemical structure using the softwares. You will be able to do combinatorial chemistry and high throughput screening of the molecules and moieties. Further to that, you will be able to check out the reactions and master the graph theory. You'll also have access to the chemical information sources. You'll be able to practice this technique and using the bioactive compounds. You will be able to perform molecular simulation and design. You'll be able to take up drug discovery process. You'll be able to use the QSAR, quality structure activity relationship studies also you'll be able to do. Followed by that, you will also be enabled to know the SBDD spectroscopy, crystallography applications in Chemi Informatics as well. So this is a 360-degree course where we bring in almost every technique which can be useful in the Chemi Informatics. Now, one very interesting question which I see in chat which has come up is, all this information could be available in the books, but they may not be latest information. That's the first thing, first point I want to make. The second point which I want to make here is this technique is evolving. So every day latest things keeps coming. So of course you will have access to latest research papers related to Chemi Informatics also in our course at Rasayanika. So this is the first technique or trend which I see and we are seeing at Rasayanika coming up, and the applications is huge. This application of Chemi Informatics is in drug discovery and development, like I have demonstrated earlier to you. We also see the applications of Chemi Informatics in analysis and molecular modeling, in spectroscopy, in environmental projects and pharmacology, of course, toxicology. It has got a huge impact and application. Chemical and physical reference data, environmental effects and hazards. Okay, so hazards due to chemical moieties, even that can be studied using Chemi Informatics. So basically what it does is it opens a door. Okay, Chemi Informatics as a technique, it just opens a door. Now you have the tool, you can do whatever you want. It is just like, okay, you have a mobile phone and you can do multiple things. You can use your social media, you can check your email, you can check your WhatsApp. Same way, chemical informatics is a tool which opens doors to almost all these things which I'm showing you on the screen right now. Now, this particular COVID special course or COVID special technique is going to help you. Now, COVID-19 is actually a tip of the iceberg. If you have seen the latest news, there was a new virus again coming up, and you know, new viruses keep coming and new diseases keep coming. But as a human race, we must thrive and survive, right? So if that has to happen, then we must have the right tools. Chemi Informatics is just one such tool. Now, another potential pandemic which is waiting to happen, okay, this is going to happen, is superbugs or antimicrobial resistance, where the antibiotics you give and they are not effective. Okay, so AMR is one big potential pandemic where our existing drugs become useless, and that is where Chemi Informatics can be used as a tool to find out, okay, what are the other target proteins on which we can attack and kill the microbe. Now we need new therapeutic agents. We need drug repurposing. You must have seen a recent drug repurposing in COVID-19. Have you seen that? Hydroxyquinoline, we saw that remdesivir, right? So it was being used as a COVID. Of course, there was a lot of debates, but what I'm talking about, I'm just trying to give you an example of drug repurposing. So that is where this comes up. So for drug repurposing, how do you do drug repurposing? You can't just go ahead and say, okay, this drug is for that disease. No, it doesn't happen that way. We have to go and check. So using Chemi Informatics inside a computer, we can actually see how this particular drug will interact with the target protein of the target virus or bacteria, right? So that's where Chemi Informatics experts will be needed across the world. Now, right now, this is the best time to invest your time and energy in this particular technique, because a few days from now, the pandemic will be over, but you will have this technique, and when you will go for the job interviews and when they will see Chemi Informatics, they will start turning towards you because others won't have that technique. And suppose there is a drug discovery opening and you have applied. So when they see you also have Chemi Informatics specialization, they're going to give you preference. So you actually stand out of the crowd. And on the top of it, when you sit in the interview, they're going to ask you questions. They're going to grill you. But then almost all the questions will be related to Chemi Informatics. Then you, since you would have done this course, you will be in a better position to answer, and you will definitely earn a job as well. So earning this certificate is almost equivalent to earning a job. That's very, very important here. Now, with this, we come to the end of my presentation. But now I want to tell you a very important thing here. Chemi Informatics is just one course or one technique which will help you. There are several more. And if I start talking about all of them, it will take a lot of time. And since I'm not an expert of other things, so what I'll do is I'll invite our first speaker, and then the second speaker. Both of them, Dr. Priyanjana and Dr. Nitin, are stalwarts of their industry, experts of their industry. They will talk in detail about these techniques, and I will meet you at the end, where I'm going to give you the surprise gift. And the surprise gift this time is an ebook which has got all the job skills and all these information, plus, of course, more additional information on how to become job ready in the chemical and pharma industry. Now, this ebook is optimized especially for all of you. You will get a lot of insight on how exactly the selection process happens within a company, how exactly they shortlist the resume, why you should be doing what all words you should be adding in your resume, what all keywords you should be doing, and how exactly the pharma industry hires, how exactly the chemical industry hires, how exactly the biotech industry hires chemistry and pharma professionals. And I want to tell you one interesting thing. So several years ago, like around 5 to 6 years ago, I was interviewing one of the CEOs and chief scientific officer of a biotech company. And I asked, so which kind of people you prefer? Do you prefer MSc biotechnology or MSc chemistry? And the chief scientific officer said, we prefer chemistry people because they are more specialized and oriented towards the chemical part of the drug moiety. They understand it better. The biotech people have a diverse subject, but they may not be specialists. But you guys will be given a preference, and even in biotech companies as well. But you must have the right understanding of the latest tools, latest techniques. That's very important. So guys, I will meet you towards the end of this webinar with your free ebook download. And of course, all these PPTs we're going to give you if you attend this webinar till the end. All right. So will you attend till the end? Yes? Okay, wonderful. So now passing on the controls to our first speaker of the day. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible to everyone? Please confirm me on that. So you can write a yes in the chat box. Okay. Thank you so much. And my screen is visible to every one of you. Please confirm me on that too. And again, you can write or drop yes in the chat box. Okay, great. So yes, so everybody could hear me, and even I am visible to every one of you and my screen too. And this is Priyanjana Ghosh, and I will be your host for a couple of minutes for this evening in this webinar. And thank you so much, Shekhar sir, for such an insightful talk you gave. So yes, we are going to begin our webinar, and as our webinar says, top trending courses. Okay, so that means we are going to discuss about some courses and definitely its implication in this pandemic era, not only in this pandemic era, but post-pandemic era or post-COVID era, how they are going to enhance our skill, how they are going to enhance our industries, everything, our economy too. So let's begin with it, everyone. So first and foremost, we would like to talk about impact of COVID pandemic on science and technology. That is a very, very important issue, correct? So the pandemic may have improved scientific communication or established new forms of its. Scientists are reviewing, editing, analyzing, and experimenting and data at record speeds and in large numbers, definitely. Because we are standing right at this point in an emergency, isn't it? And this situation is definitely getting critical day by day. So we have to work a lot more harder than we used to do it in our usual times, isn't it? And when it comes to science and technology, when it comes to pharma industries, they have to put in a lot of effort to get rid of this situation, to get to the next normal situation, isn't it? So we are accustomed now to the situation which is called as new normal, isn't it? We are now familiar to this particular term, but we have to think about the next normal situation, isn't it? That is most expected, because yes, we are in the state of new normal, but for how long this time will prevail. We have to come out of that. We have to combat this situation. So for that, we need to strategize ourselves. And for that, we have to think and rethink about next normal and not new normal. Okay, so everyone will be agreeing with this. So as the novel coronavirus, it is definitely this disease is causing and it's spreading across the world. So definitely it has got an effect over communities, different sort of patients, clinicians, and on everyone. And I would say, yes, a lot of pharma industries or pharma industry sector has also got affected a lot. So yes, we have to come back from that situation. We have to make a boost, isn't it? So it says that the typical model for research has been considered too slow for the urgency for the coronavirus threat, and several factors shape how much and which scientific knowledge can be established timely. Definitely, now we are putting in a lot of effort to bring back to this new normal, to the next normal situation. So how COVID-19 implications for pharmaceutical sciences and chemical sciences R&D has been trying to recover to its next normal situation. That is a very, very important thing we have to think about, isn't it? So a very, very important thing we have to focus on is that for any bioscience R&D, not only for bioscience, that means when we will be calling it for a pharma or any, like it can be any bioscience R&D, research and development, there should be 3 potential horizons where we should be working. And the first one is during the immediate crisis. That means where we are standing right at this point. That is the COVID pandemic era we are facing in. This is the current situation we are having, isn't it? So next is as the healthcare system shifts to recovery. So yes, we are in this era, but we have to shift into a better position. We have to shift into the next normal position. So for that, we need a paradigm. We need a change in the healthcare system too. Not only healthcare, we need a change in the research sector too. And then only it can revolutionize, then only it can upgrade our well-being, isn't it? So now at this point of time, it is very important when we talk about that healthcare system is shifting to recovery, then one thing is very important. First, we have to concentrate on safeguarding our employees, isn't it? Employees of any organization. Basically, I'm talking about the R&D sector, isn't it? Because they are our pillars. They are the hope. Okay. And the second one is very important, which is patient safety. That is another very, very important strategy, very, very important sector where we have to focus upon. So one, safeguarding our employees, and second is patient safety. And for that, we need all the researchers, all the eminent scientists, bioprofessionals, pharmaceutical professionals to upgrade the system. Without their help and without your help, I'm pretty sure that a lot of you are listening here, or a lot of you have gathered today in this evening, and you are part of this organization, you are part of this industry. So it's my message, it's my concern for every one of you here. So we have to take care about these 2 things, isn't it? What do you say? So safeguarding employees is an important sector, and patient safety is another very important sector, because we have to specially focus on the patient safety now, because a lot of things have changed after this pandemic. So I was talking about the 3 potential horizons here, and the next one is settling into the next normal. So that is very important. So if you see here, we have started with resolving. Okay. Next, it is resilience. Next, it is returning to the next normal situation, reimagination and reforming. So we have to follow all these things, isn't it? Because if we are not planning then definitely we are not able to come out of this scary new normal situation. So these things, see, we have to depend on this 5R policy: resolve, resilience, return, reimagination, and reforming. And have you ever thought that how can we do this? How is it possible? Isn't it? Because yes, we are discussing here about reforming and reimagination. So how we can do it practically? These are all theoretical versions, isn't it? So yes, I'm going to give you the solution to this. And for this reason, we have gathered today in this webinar. So setting the stage, COVID-19 impact on R&D. So as of April 6th, this data is according to Pharma organization, which is called as McKinsey. Everybody have heard about this organization. So according to them, there were more than 2850 trials and approximately 9 lakh patients enrolled at trial sites in regions that were in partial or complete lockdown due to COVID-19 restrictions. So see, another very important aspect here is clinical trials, everyone. Clinical trial is a very important part of this COVID pandemic situation. And even like this clinical trial will be an important part even after the post-pandemic era even. Because it's going to continue. It's a long run process. We cannot say that yes, next year we can declare one fine day that we are free of COVID. No, it's going to stay with us for now. But we have to combat, isn't it? We have to stay with the virus, but we have to be shielded properly. So some surveys have suggested that more than 50% of the companies have paused recruitment for most trials and 75% have paused site activation for most trials. So we have to focus on this data, no? This is very, very important. So isn't it alarming that 50% of companies, they have paused recruitment for most of the trials? Isn't it? So see, whatever I'm telling now, don't worry. It's only for this COVID pandemic era, for this couple of months, this strategy has to be taken in. Okay, but we have to proceed. We have to go forward. And how can we do that? Yes, again, the solution we will be discussing today itself, that how can we overcome these things. And here we have brought in for you some interesting and definitely some worth courses. And I was talking about the solution at this point of time, no? That is resolving, reforming. So see, this reforming and reimagination, everyone, it has to start from us, from an individual. If you are not taking the step, then nobody will be taking the step, isn't it? And at this point of time, Rasayanika is launching a lot of courses for you all, so that it gives a platform for you all to get much closer to the R&D, to any pharmaceutical firms, and so that it definitely makes your career and definitely makes your future definitely brighter, much more brighter, even after this COVID pandemic era. So I told you, no, that we have to get out of this. And the only way is to strategize ourselves. How can we strategize ourselves? So definitely we will be requiring some good techniques, isn't it? Some tools. And then only if we are really getting expertised with these techniques or tools, then only we will be able to, we have a hope of overcoming this situation, and we can shift definitely from this new normal to the next normal situation. So in this context, Rasayanika has launched with its mass spectrometric based proteomics analysis. And definitely I will be discussing about one more technique in this webinar itself. So you'll get to understand that how it should be important to pursue, and definitely which will be adding to your future, help also, because these techniques are really a major concern for any research and development concerns, for any research and development firms or companies. And they are the basic techniques which you definitely require to perform any basic analysis. And as you can see in front of you, that it's mass spectrometry based proteomics. So we have launched with this course, and it's a certification course, and I'm going to brief about this certification course in front of you. And you must be knowing that what all is about mass spectrometry, isn't it? And the next course which has Rasayanika has launched, it is protein purification technique. Okay, so this is also a self-learning certification course. So now I'm going to brief about these two techniques. Okay, now, so definitely you have this, or you will be having this question in your mind that what am I going to get out of this certification courses, isn't it? So definitely I'll be briefing about that. So the first and foremost, the most important thing which you will be receiving after pursuing this courses will be, you will be receiving a certificate of completion, and that too will be provided by a Biotechnica, Rasayanika and Peak Instruments Inc. USA. They'll jointly provide the certificate to every one of you who will be successfully completing these courses. And as I told you that these courses in this situation, in this critical situation where we are standing in, the only way out of dealing is virtual learning, isn't it? And I would say nothing better than this virtual learning at this point of time, which is definitely going to add a reward to your future, a reward to your research field in the future. So this is very important. Yes, so you will be receiving this certificate by this Biotechnica, Rasayanika and Peak Instruments, as I told you. Now next, I would like to throw some insight on mass spectrometry. What it is, what is all about mass spectrometry. So we all know that mass spectrometry, it involves the measurement of the mass to charge ratio. It's the basic thing about mass spectrometry, and it has become an essential analytical tool in biological research and can be used to characterize some wide variety of biomolecules. So when we talk about this particular technique, it has got a wide spectrum, isn't it? So we can apply, we can amalgamate mass spectrometric study with a lot of other branches of sciences. And it is one of the most important technique that is implemented everywhere. Okay, so definitely mass spectrometry is a major use in any R&D farms or in any R&D institutes and research farms. So definitely, why do we use for, or mainly we use mass spectrometric study for identification and characterization of proteins. Okay, and for that reason, it becomes so important in any research domain. Not only that, it definitely undergoes characterization of proteins at a proteome and a subproteome level also. Okay, and when we say it's a subproteome level, what does it indicate or what does it include? It includes degradome. Okay, it includes peptidome. So all this analysis can be done by the mass spectrometric study based proteomic analysis. So when we go for a proteome study, we definitely can associate mass spectrometric analysis with that. And that becomes a very, very specified and a very, very in-depth analysis for any research and development sector. Okay. So what advantages you're going to get out of this mass spectrometric based proteomic analysis online certification course? So definitely everyone, when we study or the phenomena of life, it definitely promotes human health. And whenever we are concerned with human health, the main thing which comes up to our mind is the significance of proteomics research. So proteomics is a very It's a very in-depth study, and definitely we require this field of study every now and then. So proteins, definitely it forms a direct part of life, and definitely for that we need to associate, as I told you, that we cannot, even when we are involving a 2 hybrid analysis or a 2D gel electrophoresis or 2DE processes for protein, it is not going to give or focus to that level of in-depth study, but only if we are associating the proteomic study with the mass spectrometric based analysis. Definitely it's going to add, definitely it's going to enhance the weight of the analysis to a greater extent. So that is why it is the most advantageous technique to do, because in this technique or in this course, we are trying to amalgamate the concepts of both mass spectrometry and proteomic study. So moving on to the next concern will be course eligibility, which is a very, very important concern for every one of you. So who can take up this course? So I'll definitely give you an insight on this. So any graduates, postgraduates, teaching or teacher and industry professionals in the field of pharmaceutical sciences can take up this course. And not only them, along with them, yes, definitely, we welcome research enthusiasts to take up this course too. It will be really beneficial for them. And definitely this course requires a very basic knowledge of some technique ideas. So definitely it is known that every one of us, we have those basic idea or knowledge about those techniques. And one more important thing is, for live streaming, we need a very good internet speed and a laptop to access. That's it. So these credentials will lead to pursue this course. Okay? Now, so next I would be giving you some insight about highlights, that what we are going to cover in this mass spectrometric course. So as I told you, it's very important, because not only we are focusing on the mass spectrometric part, because the parts or the types of mass spectrometry we have, like the ionization, the chemical ionization, electrospray ionization, MALDI, all these are or will be a part of mass spectrometry that we are going to definitely discuss, because they are the very basic part of mass spectrometry. But as in this course, we are trying to put in the concepts of proteomic study also. So we have tried to keep it definitely far more than that. Okay. So our concern at first end will be to cover proteomics introduction, definitely about the sample preparation, that how we definitely go for the sample preparation for the proteomics, in solution digestion, and obviously the fundamentals of mass spectrometry, how it use, like how we use, what is the structural aspect or implication. Okay, how do we use, or how we use the softwares to get the data out of that. So that is very important, like peak studies, that what type of peaks, or how do we analyze the peaks that we get in mass spectrometric, the types of peaks we get. No, we have fragment ion peaks, we have base peaks. So how to analyze those individual peaks, the negative ion peaks. So all those will be definitely be covered in this course. Okay, so we'll start from scratch so that you'll never face any problem. And definitely we are going to cover the proteomic aspect also. So yes, in the second point, you can very well see that, yes, it's MALDI sample preparation we have kept. The tandem MSMS fragmentation of peptides, that how the fragmentation take place in detail. Okay, how it take place both with positive charges and negative charges. So all will be covered in this course. And yes, quantitative proteomics we are having. So in that we are going to cover, which is a very new aspect, which is hybrid mass spectrometric configuration. We are going to introduce SILAC, ITREQ, TMT. So everyone know these things are very important, because had it been we doing the mass spectrometric technique only, we would have not conducted these parts, because it's very basic to conduct mass spectrometric. But when we are associating the two techniques together, yes, we have to focus on these advanced parts. So these parts are very important to be studied. So that is why we have put in inside this course. We are going to analyze, or we are going to know about how we can analyze the post-translational modifications by mass spectrometric study, including phosphorpeptide enrichment sequencing techniques also. And yes, we are going to definitely discuss about what are the challenges we will be coming across while we are doing this, while we are implementing this mass spectrometry with the proteomics study or data analysis. Okay, so these are the things we are going to focus upon. Now, next, another very important area that we need to see is that as we are covering or as we are discussing the aspect of this course is definitely with a COVID backdrop, we have to analyze the implications of the courses in a COVID backdrop, because definitely we have to get convinced ourselves also that why we should pursue this course, isn't it? Because yes, I am here today in front of you, and as I'm saying that yes, this course is definitely be beneficial. For that reason, you're going to do the course or pursue the course? No. You have to get clear to yourself also. So if you see this statistics in front of you, it's an analysis on impact of COVID-19 global clinical mass spectrometry market 2024. And this has been provided by this organization. They work with these statistics. So it's TechNavio. You can check their website. They're doing a wonderful work on any industry, the statistical part of any industries. So definitely when we talk about market growth, so if you see the first one, market growth will accelerate at a CAGR of almost 6%. So what is CAGR? It is called as compound annual growth rate. Okay, the full form of CAGR is compound annual growth rate, which is the rate of return that would require for any investment to grow from its beginning. So that it is going to accelerate almost 6% for mass spectrometric study. Okay, the incremental growth will be around $1.70. It was 2019, it was this, and 2024, it is definitely going to increase for mass spectrometric market, because this, the statistical study which you are seeing in front of you, it is definitely for this special backdrop. Okay, because this situation will be enhancing this global clinical market of mass spectrometry to a greater extent in future, because as I told you that for some time clinical trials were stopped. So again, after this post-pandemic era, we need, like, I don't know exactly the figure, what it would be. It can be millions or trillions of clinical trials we'll be needing. And for that, it's going to hit a height, this mass spectrometric global clinical market. Okay, so this year-over-year growth rate for 2020, it's 1.78%. Like 30% of the growth will originate from European countries. Okay, so that is it. It's giving you an idea that yes, it's going to hit a height by 2024. So everyone, gear up yourselves with these courses. It's really going to benefit you, I can say at this point of time. Okay, so yes. And if you want to know more about all these statistics, you can definitely go with TechNavio. They're really doing a good job, as I told you. Yes, so applications of mass spectrometric in clinical research. So you must be thinking that how we can associate the applications of mass spectrometric in clinical research. So in which domains we can implement it, because that is very important to get it clear at this point of time. So it is associated with, or we can associate this particular type of study for immunoassay positive drug screening, for analysis of steroid hormones, toxicology, routine clinical laboratories, identification of drugs and metabolites, and monitoring changes in putative biomarkers. And believe me, out of the 6 domains, definitely I would say that the most important domains would be now routine clinical laboratories, toxicology, drugs, monitoring changes. These 4 will be the most important one, standing at this point of time. Okay, so we really going to need this technique to get rid of this new normal to the next normal, isn't it? Now, another very important thing is how mass spectrometric is rendering social and medical betterment. Because, see, we have to discuss this aspect right at this point, as we are standing in this pandemic backdrop. So how it can lead to medical betterment. So I was talking till now regarding the research sector, but how it can help us medically also. We'll get to see that. So measurements of testosterone and other sex steroids have been used as examples for which MS is preferred method. The measurement of testosterone in children, adults of both sexes is very, very important. Measurement of thyroglobulin is another clinical example for which MS has been shown to offer superior assay quality. So just see, it's not only this. So we are not only stuck up to R&D with mass spectrometry. It has far more than that. LC-MS, which we call as liquid chromatography MS tandem, quantification of thyroglobulin specific peptides can overcome, yes, anti-thyroglobulin autoantibodies, isn't it? This is not only this, there are a lot of medical betterments. If I have to talk about that, I need another day and another evening to talk about this. So the MS-based method is also thought to overcome interference due to heterophilic antibodies. Clinical laboratories are using, yes, because tandem MS we all know it's a much more superior form of MS spectrometric because the specification we get with MS is far, far better. Okay. And lastly, CE certification for the measurement of immunosuppressants, which is very important nowadays. Because immunosuppressants and COVID, this is a very critical situation nowadays. So we have to tactfully manage these two domains. Okay. So for that, MS-based assays are more attractive for small laboratories with lesser expertise. So you can see that it has got a multiple implications. So what are you thinking up to? That is my message today to every one of you. Okay. So it would be my personal suggestion. Go and take up this course and do it for your benefit. Okay. Yes. So yes, I have kept some companies that are really making into mass spectrometers and the instrumentation part. So they are some of the renowned companies. It's Extrel Core Mass Spectrometers, First Detect, Alpha Omega Technologies, AB6. So these are all the leading companies we are having. Okay. So you can definitely, it's hidden analytical. So just if you can type, you will get to know their detail. They have their website, so you can check. They are really working well in this field. So what are you up to? Just a map of India, and I have written leading institutes of mass spectrometry in India. So where are the institutes? No. Yes. V Proteomics, Spectroanalytical Labs Limited. These two organizations are basically situated in New Delhi and they are working really well. Okay. And one more, which is a very renowned institute, which are pioneer in mass spectrometric researches. It is called as Indian Institute of Chromatography and Mass Spectrometry, IICMS. It's situated in Tamil Nadu. Okay. Situated in Tamil Nadu. So they are, I would say, they are pioneer in this. So it's extremely important that those who are really interested in this field to pursue their research even, you can check with these institutes. Okay, so they are really doing a great job. I would say these are the three pioneer institutes or the leading institutes of mass spectrometry in India now. Okay, so moving on to the next topic will be protein purification techniques. As I told you that I will be providing you insight about two courses, that is mass spectrometric and protein purification. So everyone, protein purification technique is yet another very common technique, procedure or common technique strategy that is required by any research and development organizations. Because we need protein purifications because we need to purify proteins, because whenever we are isolating proteins from any organisms, the first and the most critical step, the most important step to be taken is protein purification. And so when we have to talk about protein purification, everyone, that means, yes, so proteins always we are separating from any animal source or extracted from complex mixtures before they can be isolated and studied for their properties. So extraction and purification are used for the preparation of commercial products. So it can be any biopharmaceuticals, it can be any nutritional proteins or enzymes. So that is the most important part, no? So yes, as on the other hand, we got to see about or got to know about mass spectrometric study, which is very important and which is the most widely used. So in a similar way, protein purification is definitely another very, very important process, I would say, to take place. Okay. So what are the domains of protein purification techniques? Isn't it? That is very important to be understood. So when we talk about the domains, it is definitely centrifugation and chromatographic techniques. So centrifugation, we all know that this process, it always leads to separation technique. We call it as a separation technique. And chromatography is basically purification, where we know that there are different forms of chromatographic techniques. So we all know about the different, like thin layer chromatography, we have gas chromatographic techniques. So a lot of techniques we know. And the most important part of chromatography is all know about the stationary and the liquid phases that we use, no? And even that, whenever we are talking about the stationary and the liquid phase, that is also built up of many biomaterials. So definitely that particular portion of chromatographic techniques is even provided by any organization. So see, there are a lot of implications of protein purification techniques, and they mainly revolve around these two processes, that is centrifugation and chromatographic techniques. So what are the field of researches that are going to associate with protein purification? Okay, so that is very important. Like, so the fields will be protein purification can be associate with biochemistry, fields of biochemistry. So not only it is about the pharma, so any of you who belong to biochemistry, definitely we know that protein purification is a very important technique to be associated with this field. Even molecular biology, the field of oncology, in medical biochemistry, and when we talk about molecular biology, it has to be proteomics, isn't it? So in all these fields, we definitely require protein purification. Okay. So if we ask this to ourselves, that why this purification technique online certification course will be important, then definitely the answer would be there is a wide range of industrial jobs, research opportunities in varied tracks, and designing or modifying proteins using protein engineering is very important. So nowadays, we talk about, or we are very well aware of this field, which is called as protein engineering, where definitely we are designing different proteins and we are modifying different proteins. So for that, definitely this particular methodology is very important to be known, isn't it? So that is the basics. If you're not aware of this technique at all, then definitely it might pose a problem or a hindrance in getting through all these farms where they are basically working with protein purification techniques. So these are the things which we have to concentrate upon. Okay. Next, another very important thing is the eligibility criteria, isn't it? That is the most important part, where we think about that who can take up this course. Am I eligible to take up this course? So like the way I have discussed for the mass spectrometric studies, so similarly for protein purification, so students in their BSc, BTech, MSc, MTech, even PhD, okay, they can definitely go for this course. Okay, and definitely these courses will enhance your biodata, enhance your curriculum vitae. So whenever you want to get a breakthrough in any pharma or any research and development based companies. Okay, so passionate researchers or enthusiastic researchers definitely welcome to take up these courses. And even not only pharma or chemical sciences, yes, it can be taken up by life science candidates also. Okay, so this is the eligibility of this course, and what I have said, you need a very good and a strong internet connection. You need to have a laptop for live streaming courses, and that's it. That's the minimum eligibility criteria to take up this course. And you need to have a very basic knowledge about the techniques, as I told you. So yes, this is a very important technique and the important part. That is, what are the highlights, or the course outline is very, very important, isn't it? So here also, we are going to cover the protein isolation methods, which is very important, like how to isolate. So whenever we are isolating the protein from any organisms, we need to go through a strategy. We need to go through a particular process, right? So how the purification is required. Next, yes, properties based on which purification is done, like the prior properties, the prior preparation, that what we need to take care of when we have to go for a purification. So all these things will be taught in this course. Not only that, we have the chromatographic principles and types, how they run, because chromatography, this thing is very important. Like those who are research aspirants, those who haven't yet been into research, I'll tell you, I'm pretty sure that you are preparing for a lot of competitive examinations. And there are a lot of examinations as GATE or TIFR examinations, and all those examinations, chromatography is a very, very important topic, I would say. So I'll definitely say you'll get, or you will be benefited if you can take up this course. If you can, I would suggest to go for this course, because a lot of things will be taught in this course regarding chromatography also. Okay. And yes, the most important part, salting in and out, dialysis, electrophoresis, isoelectric focusing techniques, the basic principles, that how it works, the charge separation, everything will be included here. And like we all know that chromatography is of two types, basically. Not only two types, we have several, like we have size exclusion, ion exclusion, affinity chromatography. So what are the basic point of differences in these chromatographic techniques? All will be covered up, because it is very much important to know that in future, when you will be working in any farms like this, any research and development, so you have to decide on your own that which particular technique you should be taking up, isn't it? Like which technique will be better for your experimental design. So in that case, you have to gain that knowledge that yes, I should be knowing this difference, that when I should be going for affinity chromatography or when I should be going for size exclusion chromatography. So for that, this basic idea is very much needed. Okay, so all these things will be covered up. Not only this, we have affinity precipitation, we have extraction methodology, capillary electrophoresis, concentration of purified protein, lyophilization, ultrafiltration. So all these methods will be covered in this course. Okay, so I hope you understood that what are the things we are going to cover in our course. Okay, so yes, some of the leading companies that are associated with protein purification technology, a lot of companies are working, and there are a lot of scope, I would say. Okay, so one of them is iBio, another one is Artis, Proteogenics, Fluidic Analytics. They are all renowned and leading companies. And not only this, we have some definitely other leading companies also, which are Serum Institute. They are the familiar ones we all know. Unilever, Cipla, GE Healthcare, Novartis, Dr. Reddy's, Invitrogen by Thermo Fisher Scientific. I suppose you're familiar with this organization, GSK. Okay, and Pfizer also. So they are all the renowned and leading companies that are working with protein purification, and like doing this courses, it will definitely enhance and definitely it will create a strong position in these companies if you are trying a breakthrough for these companies. Okay, this I can make you sure about that. Okay. So how important will be protein-based vaccines in this era? So We all know that French drug maker Sanofi and its British peer GSK, I just showed you GSK, they have started a clinical trial for a protein-based COVID-19 vaccine candidate. Okay, and definitely as pharmaceutical companies are racing to develop treatments against COVID-19 pandemic, they are really important. So yes, we are into making protein-based vaccines, and for that, we need to have or we need to develop some idea about these techniques. Okay, so you can very well understand that how important these techniques are. So yes, I would like to conclude my session that pharma operations and R&D operations, they are creating a path to recovery to the next normal. So yes, our leaders, our pharma leaders, our R&D leaders, our bioscience leaders, they have increased their focus on network, risk management, transparent operations, just to shape our workforce for the future in the post-COVID-19 era. And we all want that every one of you here today, you lend your hand towards this recovery, isn't it? Will you be giving? I suppose so. Every one of you will be leading your hands towards this progress to this next normal situation. So with this quotation, I would like to end my session that a little progress each day adds up the big result. So if you are thinking to do something big one day, even in this critical situation, you have to start right away from the scratch, and then only you will achieve that big day, isn't it? So thank you so much, everyone. Have a bright future ahead, and all the best to every one of you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to the live webinar on top 5 trending online certificate courses. Wow, I'm really overwhelmed by looking at the large number of participants today. Thank you, Dr. Priyana, for this deep insight into challenging and rewarding certification courses. As Shekhar sir already mentioned that this COVID-19 pandemic has affected almost every one of us, either directly or indirectly. Directly it affected us because we are locked down in our homes, not able to do anything, and indirectly because our industrial sector has got a bad hit. And the most affected industries by COVID-19 are the tech industries, textile industries, sports and entertainment industries, including our Hollywood and Bollywood, tours and travel industries, and the associated travel insurance industries. But there is one industry which is almost unaffected. Can you guess that? That is healthcare industry. However, the potential of this healthcare industry in India has been tested by COVID-19 pandemic. As we know that there are many healthcare centers available in India, ranging from 5-star private hospitals to most basic government funded hospitals spread across the urban and rural population of India. Having this large number of healthcare facilities, though not adequate, because there are numerous medical cases emerging on day-to-day basis. For example, cardiac surgeries, cancer treatment, diabetes issues, tuberculosis, etc. Not only this, the pregnancy cases and the emergency situations like road fatalities. In addition, the newly emerging contagious diseases like COVID-19 will add up to the situation because the vaccines for such emerging diseases are not yet discovered. One more factor that affects the healthcare industry quantity wise and quality wise is the shortage of healthcare staff. This is really haunting in this testing time. So one can think of this situation as a golden opportunity to take up their careers in healthcare industry. Healthcare industry will offer challenging and rewarding career options not only for medical science students but also for life science students and chemical sciences candidates. There are vast variety of job roles for these candidates ranging from A to Z, but I have listed only few of them. This is just a tip of an iceberg. So I was talking about the job roles including medical officers, supporting staff, pharmacy jobs, pathological laboratory jobs, drug and vaccine development jobs, database maintenance and coding jobs, clinical trial jobs, etc., etc. The first three job roles includes the medical officers, pharmacy and pathological laboratory jobs needs a long-term courses that can be done over the period of 2 to 4 years, but the remaining three requires only certification courses in a shorter time. So if you are interested in healthcare industry, so you should make a smart move to invest your this idle time in self-learning. What is self-learning? Is it going to the book and reading the content? No. The self-learning I am referring to is online self-learning. An online self-learning certification course is one such self-learning process which will allow you to log in into your mobile phone or the laptop and study from anywhere at your convenient time. All you need is a smartphone and a laptop or a laptop with internet connectivity. All you need to do is to watch 90% of each session so as to unlock the following session. If you finish all the sessions, that depends on your pace. Evaluation test link will be provided at the end of the last session, and if you qualify for that, a certificate of completion will be provided and a hard copy of it will be mailed to your communication address if you score more than 40% in a test. Having said this, question arises, where should I do this online self-learning certification course and what are the courses available? Because this webinar is centered on the top 5 certification courses which are trending currently. Dr. Priyanjana already has mentioned about 2 such courses related to mass spectrometry and protein purification techniques, and the remaining 3 trending courses I will be discussing here. The first one is the vaccine design and development. So vaccines. What are vaccines? Vaccines are the most important discoveries of the previous century that we are using nowadays also. There are different types of bacteria and viruses. Some are helpful for our well-being and some are really threatening and it will cause diseases in humans. The bacteria and viruses which cause diseases are called pathogens, and these pathogens can be life-threatening. Luckily, we have the vaccines which will protect us from such pathogens. So what are vaccines? Vaccines are the products that protect people against many diseases that can be very dangerous and even deadly in certain cases. So you must think that why medicines and vaccines are not same. Is it same like medicines? No. Vaccines are different than medicines because medicines treat or cure the disease. Once the disease is developed, then only medicines are used. On the other hand, the vaccines are taken as a precaution. As if you are vaccinated, it will prevent you from getting disease itself in the first place. Generally, these vaccines are made from weak or dead strains of disease-causing bacteria or viruses. Once you inject this weak or dead strains, the body's defense mechanism will eradicate these pathogens and it creates a permanent memory in life system, so that whenever in future if we are exposed to the similar pathogen, the body will take care without any problem. So vaccines, there are three different types. One, which can be injected using needles. Second, can be taken orally, and third, as a nasal spray. So vaccines are so effective that it reduces or almost nullifies the childhood diseases and the mortality rate. Therefore, the vaccines are introduced as early as from the birth. The most important vaccines which are given to the child at the birth is BCG, hepatitis B, and oral polio vaccines. And this story doesn't end here. There is a series of vaccines which has to be given at regular intervals until the child becomes around 10 years of age. So having endless list of vaccines is not sufficient, because there are many new and deadly diseases like COVID-19 are emerging at regular intervals, and therefore there is always scope for development of new vaccines, and thus there is scope for this vaccine design and development learning. Not only this, this course will allow you to learn how to improve already existing vaccines to increase its effectiveness. Having said this, where to learn, where to take up this course? There are several courses available with Rasainika. One of them, which is trending now, is vaccine design and development, is for the people who have interest in immunology. This course allows you to explore the most interesting field of immunology, that is vaccine design and development online certification course. In this course, you will learn about structure-based vaccine design. You will learn about vaccine components, its delivery, and optimization and effects of vaccines. If you have interest in immunology, so it is the best fit for you, because this course is designed in such a way that it will fit candidates with wide variety of educational background. But the candidate should have interest in immunology. In Eligibility criteria: one must have BSc in life science or chemistry, BTech, MSc or MTech candidates. This course is not only limited to the students but also for the teaching and industry enthusiasts and even for research scholars as well. So having said this, let us spend few minutes on looking into the module of this course. There are total 14 sessions in this course, starting from vaccine production. There are different types where you will learn in the day 1 and the overview of present and previous vaccines, discarded vaccines, etc. In day 2 you will learn immunology, protein design, genetic delivery, etc. And in subsequent classes or sessions you will learn subunit vaccine component, structure based vaccine design, and all the way to day 14, which comprises vaccine in recent news and hard work behind the development of the vaccines. So if you finish this course, then you will have a certificate at the end of the course, which will fetch you a job in pharmaceutical industries. As I told, there are daily new vaccines are being generated, and these pharma companies like leading Indian pharmaceutical company like Dr. Reddy's, Biocon, etc. are looking for the vaccine design and development experts constantly. Not only that, there is the international demand where leading pharmaceutical industries like Abbott, Cadila Pharmaceutical, Cipla, etc., Johnson & Johnson are constantly looking for the experts. So it's the right choice to register for the course and get one certificate. Now, the drug discovery process or the vaccine development process is not a single step process. Before that, one has to identify the disease causing bacteria and its protein site and the leading compound which is effective against this bacteria or the virus. Once you find that, you are developing the vaccine and you have to push it to the market. But there is a hurdle. Before even we push this vaccine to the market, it should be approved by a controlling authority, that is Food and Drug Administration, shortly known as FDA. In order to get license for the said vaccine, one must submit a report of its preclinical and clinical trial. So vaccine design and development is done by a certain group of people, and the next step, that is clinical trial and preclinical trials, are done by a pharmacovigilance experts or drug safety experts who will test these drugs against first the animals and then human trials. So the next trending course, the fourth one in this series, is pharmacovigilance, which is also offered by Rasainika. So pharmacovigilance is one of the challenging fields in life sciences. It is a critical step involved in clinical trials and drug development. There are many steps in pharmacovigilance and drug safety process. It involves the collection, evaluation, monitoring and prevention of negative effects of medication and treatments. Thus, the pharmacovigilance experts or the drug safety experts ensures the patient's well-being throughout the drug development process. Having said this, this is a different job role. So one must think of the pharmacovigilance online certification course as another career option. Why one should enroll for this course? The reasons are again the same. There are daily new diseases and daily new vaccines are being developed. Before pushing into the market, we must get the license. For that license, everything must be tested, and this broadens the scope of pharmacovigilance. Not only that, there is an increasing demand for highly competent pharmacovigilance and drug safety experts to keep constant track of existing medicines. And therefore, the different sectors like pharmaceutical firms and contract research organizations, IT sectors, etc. are on constant hunt for talented and skilled pharmacovigilant professionals. So this course is a bit short compared to the previous one. It contains the 8 sessions which starts with introduction and revision of the fundamental principles of pharmacovigilance, and it ends with the softwares in pharmacovigilance and the recent developments and job prospects of the pharmacovigilance. As in the previous cases, here also there are numerous career options. You might have heard about the companies like Capgemini, Accenture, Cognizant, etc., which will offer the job as pharmacovigilant and drug safety expert. So these are the few companies I have listed here. You can think of, and the list is really big. Having said this drug discovery process doesn't end here. Once the drug has come into market, it will be supplied to the deceased person or the person who has medical condition. Once the patient is recovered, the last and important step is to bill settlement. So bill settlement is not that easy job as it seems. These bill settlement and bill generation itself is done by a specialist people. Those are known as medical coders. So medical coding is the 5th trending course in current situation. So what are the responsibilities of medical coders and what are the procedures in medical coding? Medical coding involves the conversion of healthcare diagnosis, medical services, procedures and equipment into universal medical alphanumeric codes. It includes collection of codes of procedures and diagnosis in laboratory, for example, laboratory results, transcription of physician's notes, radiological results, etc. from medical record documentation, and assign right codes and create the claim for insurance carriers to be paid. Thus, let me put it in another way, that medical coding happens every time when you visit a medical practitioner. Then who can take up this course? Any bioscience graduate can take up this important role as medical coder. So what is included in this course is, again, it has approximately 14 to 16 sessions, starting from introduction to healthcare systems, history of medical insurance and medical coding, medical code usage, common forms, insurance claim forms, symbols, modifiers and unlisted procedures, etc., practice of coding diagnosis, etc. Not only this, you will learn the code categories for different common conditions like skin conditions, infections, injuries, muscle and bone conditions, respiratory conditions, heart, vein and artery conditions and diseases, etc. Then at the end of the course, during the end of the course, you will also learn how to reclaim the denied claims, and you will develop your professional ethics by following patients' privacy and confidentiality. So this is most sought after courses in this current situation. As in the previous two courses, as I have mentioned, there is a lot of scope for this medical coders in the industries, because the healthcare industries will be functioning forever. Whether there is a pandemic or not, the healthcare industry will be continuously working. Therefore, they need a medical coders as constant working support. Therefore, medical coding is a great career choice. There are numerous companies like American R1 and other companies like Accenture, Omega Healthcare, Accurus, B Technologies, etc. And I have mentioned only few of them. So this is the right time for you to decide and do one or more online certification courses. If you are interested, for more information, please visit stores.rasayanika.com. There you will find the list of different courses. You have to select the correct course of your interest and proceed with your self-learning process. With this, I will pass over the controls to Shekhar sir. Thank you for the kind attention.
All right. Looks like we just finished a power-packed webinar. Wonderful. So guys, did you like the webinar? How was it? Did you find more information which is usually not available in the public domain? Yes? Correct. It was really insightful. Even I learned a lot of things from Dr. Priyanjana and Dr. Nitin. And now, since we have reached towards the end of the webinar and we don't have much time left, so quickly, we are going to give you a feedback link right now in the chat box. Please click on the feedback link and fill the feedback. Share your thoughts on how much you liked our webinar and what all things you would like to see in the future webinars. Give us the feedback. And after that, you will be redirected to the surprise gift. And of course, I'll be sending you an email with the PDF. Okay. Once you fill the feedback form, you'll automatically get an email with the PDF, which will have the link to download this ebook, which is specialized for Rasayanika, chemical sciences and pharma people. Okay, so this is very important ebook. Don't forget to download. And yes, after 24 hours from now, I will send you all the PPTs which were used in today's webinar. So my PPT as well as Dr. Nitin and Dr. Priyanjana's PPT combined together, I'll send across to you so that all this information stays with you. You can refer it back later and it'll help you get better at what you do, chemistry and pharma. Now, guys, remember, you must have three things in your life if you want to excel: faith in your field, desire to learn, and love your subject. If these things are in place, if you have the burning desire to succeed, nobody can stop you. And to support you, Rasayanika is right behind you. So with our newsletters, with our webinars, and with our ebooks, and with our various offerings, we also have a request that please subscribe to Rasayanika's Telegram channel. With the link will be given in the description right now in the chat box. Please subscribe there so that you are updated with the latest happenings in the biopharma, chemistry, and pharma world, and you don't miss out, and keep learning. Thank you so much for joining us today, and see you soon in our next webinar